Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Discord channel to Elevating Traders. Completely free to join. You can find the link to that in the description below. Also at the top of the chat. If you're looking to join the community, share ideas, chat with other traders, chat with myself, you can find all of that there in the Discord. Completely free to join. Check it out if you are interested. But what is up, people? Raheel, yes, we'll take a look at EuroCAD. I will first go through the USD side of things, but I will take a look at EuroCAD. What is up, Matta? Welcome to the stream. Good morning. Hope you are well. So, as always, we'll go through the USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold, and silver. Any requests, let me know. Any pairs you're looking to trade or just want my opinion on, drop it in the chat, and of course, we'll take a look. And of course, any particular time frames as well. Predominantly, I'll be on the 4-hour chart, but if you want me to get a little bit more intraday, let me know. But we'll start with the DXY, which is looking very, very bearish at the moment. Still kind of within the corrective nature of this bearish trend, which we've had in play for a while. So yes, we're falling, but it's not enough for me to get too excited. Yes, I would still say the dollar is absolutely bearish. I think if you're looking at any intraday opportunities, shorts are still the best play. We've just broken through this miniature range here. Nice momentum to the downside. Also another gap there. Price potentially can go fill. I would suggest keeping a close eye on some break and retest opportunities for some more downside. My worry for the dollar is that when we do approach these lows down here, are we going to start to stall again and potentially reverse and maybe see the bigger move to the upside, or are we going to crash through and really see momentum take control? Of course, that's something we have to find out when we get there. But at the moment, bears are very much in control. We've broken through this range, broken through the floor here basically. And yeah, I would suggest some pullbacks there for the dollar look the best. So I think if you're kind of intraday hourly chart, maybe even lower time frame, if we can go and get the retest of that range, fill the gap whilst we're at it as well, I think that actually lines up pretty well for a nice short opportunity, and a push back to the prior low, wherever that does form, would make the most sense. So yeah, dollar looking bearish, momentum's with the bears, nice drop there from the start of the week. Left behind now a nice area of support / supply. So if you can see price go and tap into that, I think that's a great place for some entries, and naturally expecting more downside off the back of that. So at the moment, it's definitely bearish there with the dollar. Of course, euro picking up the pace as well. Again, still kind of within this corrective nature of this channel. So not getting too excited just yet because price is still kind of testing the upper region. Again, we could start to stall here and make our way back down again, and then things get awkward again for euro if that is the case. But yes, very, very bullish at the moment. I think if we can get a pullback for euro, the buys still look good. We were talking about some buying opportunities off the retest of this area here. Unfortunately, no retest happened. Slight consolidation. Didn't really see much of a pullback yesterday for euro. We were very, very bullish in the afternoon, and price committed to the upside. So I would say a retest of the high here, which of course coincides with that miniature range, same with the dollar, I think would be a smart place for a break and retest. Again, keeping it intraday, I think that's a nice place for a buy. So euro is still very bullish, momentum still with the buyers, no signs of bearish pressure coming in just yet. So I would be focused with looking to find long opportunities. There's a nice area just below us here at 1.163. which lines up with the retest of the high and this miniature range. If we can pull back there nice and correctively, I would, I guess there's a likely chance of a bounce, see some healthy rejection, and of course taking it back to highs, wherever that does form. If the market, let's say the market pulls back from here, well, naturally that would make good for a target. So yeah, Euro USD still very bullish, momentum's to the upside, just looking for a break and retest. We didn't get this opportunity yesterday, so maybe now we do see the pullback and we get this opportunity. So keep a close eye on that. In terms of pound USD, very bullish as well. This one, very clean breakout, I must say. Essentially, I've been calling pound a bit of a range for quite a while. Ever since we had the breakout of this high, price has not been moving well. But we have had a very substantial breakout this morning, or last night, not last night, yesterday afternoon, but it's carried on to this morning. So yeah, pound's looking a lot better now. And if we are going to continue that journey, that would be nice, because if we could see kind of momentum pick up just a little bit more, I would be looking at a break and retest. We've got some major highs to the left over here, which I think price is about to smash into, or already has. These are some previous highs dating back to 2021, so it's definitely been a while. But yeah, it's a clear breakout to the upside, similar to Euro USD. I'll keep a very close eye on the retest of the high there. I think that is a smart place for a pullback and some long entries. Again, the key thing I wanted to see with the USD pairs, if I'm going to continue that bullish bias for the USD pairs or bearish bias for the dollar, is momentum. And in fairness, pound USD is showing some really healthy momentum after the break of the highs there. So the retest actually looks pretty good there. I'll keep an eye at that at 1.36295. We've had a solid rejection of support here. Price is now reversed and looking very, very strong at the moment. So if you can see some pullbacks back into 1.362, basically the same idea as Euro. I do think that's a smart place to go long and expect some more upside for pound USD. Next big target 1.382, which is a major swing high, going all the way back to 2021, as we just mentioned. But yeah, Euro USD looking, pound USD, sorry, looking very, very bullish. Dollar CAD not as bearish as you would expect it to be. You know, looking at some of the other USD pairs, Euro flying, pound flying. I think Euro and pound are a little bit strong at the moment. Of course, USD is weak too. But CAD is quite weak at the moment as well, which is why dollar CAD is finding it a little bit difficult. I was hoping to see a retest of the high here for a nice double top before shorting. Unfortunately, that hasn't come around just yet, but I do think that is still the best play. I'm not really willing to jump into any shorts down here anyway, so I do want to see price have another pullback to retest the highs. We've got a lovely range on our left here. Brief pause, strong move to the downside. This is kind of really where I want to base my shorts from. Also, there is an area just above us, which I do like the look of as well. But of course, price is nowhere near that area, so not too concerned with that range over there, which of course did give us a really nice drop, but it's not really in play. So if price can pull back and retest that area, maybe when pound and euro pull back, we might see dollar CAD pull back with it, test the high. I think that's a smart place for a short, and then push back into lows, and then we'll go from there. It might be some nice buys at the low again. But yeah, the way I see it, very solid rejection from a very solid area. Price may just fall from here. If that's the case, you probably have to scale right down to the lower time frames to find an opportunity with dollar CAD. Maybe if you can break through support here very well, it might open up the door to some shorts there. But from a swing perspective on the 4-hour chart, I am hoping to see if we can get the 4-hour double top before the sell. But again, this might be the best opportunity, so keep an eye on that forming on the more intraday time frames. In terms of Aussie dollar, this one, it has continued. I am still looking to see what we can do within this ascending channel. So as we do push to the higher end, which is around 0.66, this is kind of where I'm looking to see if I can find some shorting opportunities. I do think price is likely to rally through the resistance here, especially because we just had the massive fake out to the downside. You know, price now has just grabbed some fresh liquidity. I think that would be the catalyst to go and break resistance, because in fairness, it has held for quite a while now. You know, price had numerous tests of this resistance level. And then when we did sell off, price, of course, faked the low and has now recovered substantially. So I do think we're likely to break through to the upside, which is why I'm not looking to sell there. And this becomes an area of interest, looking for the third upper test of that trend line. If I can see some confident rejection, I think that would be a nice place to short Aussie dollar and capitalize on a move down. But yeah, at the moment, nothing really to do. We didn't see that pullback for Aussie dollar yesterday either. I said a nice retest of this area could be a solid place for a buy, especially because you got the fake out. Now you're looking for the retest and the continuation. All price did yesterday was just consolidate and then continue. So unfortunately, nothing there to take advantage of a retest, unfortunately. But that short idea still stands, and that's really where my focus is now with Aussie dollar. And we'll see how price reacts from there, because that will make or break the trade. Of course, if price rallies through, I won't be too interested in shorting. But if I can see some healthy rejection, then yes, I will consider some shorts. New Zealand dollar, I'm not a big fan of. I did say I do expect to see a push back to highs, but I don't really have an opportunity to take advantage of that. I'm not really seeing a setup. Altogether, the market for me is quite flat, and we're almost kind of ranging. I think a nice buy opportunity would be if we can have a solid break of the high, similar to what we're seeing with pounds, similar to what we're seeing with euro. Then possibly some pullbacks after that might be interesting, depending how we pull back and how we situate. But that would make the most sense to me. I don't really want to be trading inside of this range, so anything inside of here, I kind of view as no man's land a little bit. If I can see a confident break to the upside, that tells me that momentum has really entered the market. I'm simply just looking for the pullback, of this bullish leg. Probably not going to get a fib confluence there, but a retest of the high might be a solid opportunity, and then so on and so forth. So something like that might interest me. It really depends on the breakout. It needs to be a confident one if I am going to follow that. If it's kind of just flat and rejecting, I'm not really too interested. But yeah, I think Aussie dollar looks like the better pair anyway. Maybe if momentum really does continue, I might consider to add this to the watch list. But at the moment, not really interested. Gold, I'm still looking to buy this one. We had a bit of upside yesterday, but didn't really amount to much. Price overall was very, very corrective on the push. So I do think gold can still see a push back down. Again, this is still very, very critical support for me for gold. At 3,300, we need to hold on to that. If gold does break through that, then I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up back at 3,120, which is the low down here. Because at the moment, the only thing keeping us bullish right now for gold is this bullish structure. If that does violate, then that's a clear sign to say that, okay, the buyers aren't really here anymore. We might push down to go and collect some more before we do potentially continue on our bullish journey. Because, of course, us breaking the lows there doesn't necessarily mean that the whole reversal of gold is going to happen. All you need to do is just look at the daily chart. The trend is still very confidently to the upside. But what it does show is that the immediate price action, the intraday price action, is switching bearish. So we might be seeing a bigger pullback than expected. So we'll see what price can do on a retest of this area. There might be a nice double bottom for a buy. It's kind of what I'm looking at. There's a bit of a counter trend line here as well. So people who favor counter trend line breaks, I think that's an area to look at. If price can break and close above that well, that could be a nice buy opportunity. There is some resistance here to watch out for, around 3,400. I think if we can get back above that, again, that's a solid buy. But yeah, I'll see what we can do here for the retest. Hopefully some buying opportunities can present. If not, then I'll look for something like this. So gold, a bit of limbo right now. Buys, not quite there yet. Sells, not quite there yet either. So I'll stay patient. I mean, even intraday, there might be some nice shorts there. In terms of silver I like a lot more. I was debating an opportunity to try and take silver buys, but I decided to stay away. My preferred opportunity for silver is a retest of this level here. I did like the price action yesterday, so I was debating looking for an entry, but I decided not to. It was a nice close in the afternoon. It's a nice wick to the downside, so I like the rejection there. I like the wick here. But I decided I'm going to wait to see if price can get back to my zone here, which maybe in hindsight we don't do. I'm not too sure. We are looking quite bullish right now, so maybe I do regret not taking that position. But again, I would want to see price get to that zone, because that's where the retest lies, and that's where I'll be more confident having my stop loss. Having a stop loss there underneath the lows does invite some risk, because if we are going to see a retest, my stop loss will be taken out. So ideally, I want my stop loss to be underneath the low there. So yeah, entering up here with a stop loss there doesn't make too much sense in terms of risk to reward. So if I can get my entry a little bit closer, that would be my preferred opportunity. But again, we'll see if silver is going to provide that. In terms of direction though, silver for me is pretty clear cut. Very much still looking for buying opportunities. I like the opportunity for the retest at the 34.8 level. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. There might be somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern that could form. You got the left, you got the head, you got the right shoulder there. You know, possibly that could happen, which could help with the pullback actually before a buy. The way I see it, this is kind of like a ranging market here a little bit. So that right shoulder does have some merit, but I'm not interested in selling silver. I'm only looking to buy it. But yeah, the analysis hasn't really changed, to be honest. The buys still look good down here, 34.8. That's where I'm waiting to see if price can get to, and then hopefully buy it back to highs and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD pairs, gold, silver. It looks like dollar is very bearish at the moment. Okay, where was I? Julius, what is up? Hope you're well. Good morning, good morning. Follow the trend, what is up? Good morning, hope you're good. Went long on dollar Swiss. Yeah, you shed some light on the long-term swing. Okay, no problem. I'll go take a look. Yeah, USD is looking pretty bearish right now. Elmi, USD buy. Okay, we'll have a look. What's up, DMAR? Good morning, good morning. Hope you're well. Trade with Nabanit. Again, please do not spam the chat. I can see your message. What's up, Adams? Welcome to the stream. Insight on the DAX. Sure thing. We'll take a look. Julius, silver on the daily. And 4 hour, it's on a head and shoulder. Yeah, I agree. We've just come back into that level now. I mean, in my opinion, silver's just quite flat in general. You know, we had the massive breakout a couple of weeks back, and we've just been a little bit flat since then, which is not a bad thing necessarily. Price might just be having a big breakout, a big pause for another big breakout. You know, that very much could be the situation. In that case, we're looking for a retest of that for the continuation, because we haven't got the retest of this yet. But I'm kind of hoping we get the retest there first before we do continue. So yeah, the consolidation, the head and shoulder is not something to worry about in terms of a complete reversal. It could be, but I wouldn't expect it to be. But yeah, that head and shoulder pattern is at play at the moment, and price is kind of respecting it. Malik, good morning. Hope you're well. Oil buy. Okay, let me go through some pairs. Okay, so I'll go through Euro CAD first for a heel, and I'll take a look at dollar CHF, Euro NZD, and we'll go through the DAX as well. And of course, any other requests, drop it down in the chat and we'll take a look. But last time I checked with Euro CAD, we were looking very, very bullish, and that is still very much the case. We were stalling at the high, but didn't really provide much resistance. I said to be a bit cautious with the sells at this level, because yes, it is a nice level of resistance, but of course the trend is still very much to the upside, so you have to be very cautious. Didn't really see much momentum come into the market. I did say wait for some momentum before entering, because when you are going counter trend, you want to see some force behind that trade. The fact that we are corrective is a good sign, but you do need to see some momentum before getting into a short. And I pointed out as this is a nice area where you could target, and maybe price will find support before continuing. But no, EuroCAD decided they wanted to break out straight away. Of course, Euro USD broke out as well. They do kind of move quite similar, 7, 8, 9 times out of 10. They do kind of the same thing. And EuroCAD has created new highs. Now, I wouldn't get too excited about this, because the last time price did go and create new highs was back over here. So we had a high there. Price pulled back, created a new high. What happened? We had a pretty big pullback. Now price is going down the same thing, seeing a new high. Could it induce potentially a big pullback and something like that? It could do. I'm looking at the higher time frames as to where EuroCAD is situated. We are trading at major resistance. In fact, might be breaking through this move actually. Actually, I can probably extend it across to this area here. So in general, price is just trading at major resistance. So naturally, I wouldn't be looking to try and follow momentum here because I would expect higher time frame sellers to be stepping in, a lot of long-term buyers to be looking to take their profit. So I would watch out for reversals in this area. But of course, if you are looking for that reversal, you do want to stay patient. If there are going to be some shorting opportunities now with EuroCAD, I do want to see some lower lows and lower highs coming to the market. Then yes, sure, we can take some shorts there. There might be a nice opportunity off the back of that. Again, some counter trend plays there. That could be a smart move. In terms of the buying opportunities, I probably would wait for price to at least pull back into an area like this. That's where we had the last kind of major resistance. We stalled, we broke through, haven't yet come back for a retest. I think that would be a smart-ish place for a buy. I wouldn't try and look to swing it back to highs there. I think we can get a smart reaction off that level. The reason why I wouldn't swing it back to highs is for the same reason that we are creating new highs and seeing deep pullbacks. So if we do see price push down, I think we might bounce from there, but probably still come a lot lower. And especially because of where we're trading in the higher time frames, massive weekly resistance as well. If I am going to take buys, it's just to take a small piece of the pie rather than a big swing. Not situated in the place for that. But yeah, for shorting opportunities, I would wait for some development. I wouldn't try and just pluck the highs. Very risky stuff. We could always go higher. Yes, we're trading at resistance, but who knows? Maybe price goes and breaks resistance. That can happen as well. So I would wait for some established bearish structure first before entertaining any sell opportunities. If you're looking for a buy, I'll at least wait for a retest of this structure here, 1.585. So, yeah, EuroCAD, very bullish market, expecting retracement now. We have to wait for that to develop. At the moment, still very bullish, so I wouldn't do anything really until we get some more information. I would expect a pullback, but let's wait till one actually does form. Okay, so we'll go through dollar CHF. So looking for a longer term swing buy as well. I've actually been pretty bearish with dollar CHF. Dollar CHF is actually one of the only CHF pairs where I haven't actually been looking for a longer term buy opportunity, because I do think dollar CHF is likely to push back into the lows here first. This is the prior all-time low on the monthly chart. So if I do zoom out, you can see we've literally been falling since the beginning of time almost. 1971 price has been falling, and I do think naturally we're just seeing a continuation of that. Ever since we got the close a couple of months ago, breaking through support, I've been looking for price to push into this zone, especially with last month's as well, like the wick and the retest. But it looks like we're simply just seeing a continuation back into support. Now, if you're looking for a swing trade, maybe we do get into here, slow down. This might provide a nice buying opportunity, maybe, but that could be for another 3-4 months potentially. Because imagine we have to test the level, react with it, and then see the rally. Like I said, that could take 3-4 months. So I wouldn't bank necessarily on the buys there, because there will be opportunities before that. But yes, we are pushing into major support where maybe we do take a bit of a reversal. But again, I'm not going to call that just yet, because that's still, in my book, quite a long way away. Still seeing lower lows and lower highs. Momentum did pick up very well. We have broke through the lows here too. So yeah, I do think dollar CHF can see a bit more downsides. I would suggest keep an eye out for a bit of a pullback, but I do think we can keep falling. There's a nice range high there. After a successful retest of that area, I think this would be a nice place for a retest. I'm not too sure if I would eye up the break and retest over here. It's a little bit too early for the retest for my liking, especially after taking out a major low, but I think intraday that's something to keep an eye out for. So if you are looking at like hourly 30-50 minute opportunities, there's a brief range here you can probably look for the retest of, but I wouldn't look for any major swing. If you are looking for a big swing, and I would want to see a big pullback at least, But I still do fancy a bit more downside for dollar CHF into 0.787, and then we'll go from there. Might see some reversals after that. But yeah, market's still looking pretty bearish. Dollar's still looking pretty bearish. CHF, there's a bit of a mixed bag with CHF. It's not really strong, but it's not really weak either. Some pairs it's been weaker, some pairs it's been a bit stronger. But overall, USD is still pretty weak here. And I'm not really seeing any signs of that slowing down just yet. So yeah, dollar CHF, I do think we are likely to continue to fall. Long-term swing, I think there's still probably at least a decent move to the downside from current price, 100 odd pips there. And then maybe we can speak about the longs later on, but I need a lot more information before I start to talk about some bigger buys. So yeah, hopefully that made some sense with dollar CHF. Okay, so we'll go take a look at Euro NZD for ELMI. Is that a buy opportunity that you caught there? Okay, we'll take a look at that. We'll go for the DAX as well. Julius, oil, we'll take a look, no problem. Malik, you're long on oil already. Okay, we'll have a look, see. No problem, follow the trend. Follow the trend, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so, buddy. According to your name. I mean, there's times where you should follow the trend. There's times where you shouldn't follow the trend, especially in FX. It's not just as simple as follow the trend, because if you do that, you can end up, selling at lows, buying at highs, and price going against you. So there's a time and place where following the trend makes sense, and there's a time and place where going against the trend makes more sense as well. And of course, picking those times is the difficult bit. But I mean, a rule of thumb, I don't like selling at lows. So when a market has been trending for a while, I tend to stay away, and I tend to kind of get ready for the opposite move. Maybe if I see newfound momentum, so let's say we've been trending for a while and there's a strong move down, showing that, okay, the bears are back in control, really showing a lot of momentum, then yeah, I might look to continue that, because at that point I would expect more downside. But if I've been trending for a while like dollar CHF, I wouldn't really be looking to short anyway. I'll be getting ready for some buys. But of course, doesn't mean price can't go lower. I might not be looking to short it, but it doesn't mean that price can't still drop some more. Just like dollar CHF case, I think we can drop some more. I might not be looking to short it, but I think we can keep falling for now. But I do think the bigger move will be to the upside. I do think there'll be a very nice buy opportunity that does come around for dollar CHF. Like I said, that could still be quite a long way away, so you have to be patient, which is another reason why I trade quite a few pairs to give me that flexibility. But yeah, there's a time and place for it. Right now, it looks like the bears are in control, so I wouldn't be trying to look for any counter trend move, or at least any major counter trend move. You can be very, very in and out with some counter trend opportunities, but they're kind of more like scalps, if anything. Any swing trades, I'll stay patient for the buys. Okay, so we'll go through Euro NZD. So Elmi, you said buy 1.936. Is this a trade you've got live at the moment, or is this something you're looking to get involved? I mean, 936 is above price there, so I'd imagine, do you have like an order place there? You're waiting for price to go fill that? Target 48. Back at the high. So I'm imagining that you're looking for price to go and fill that, and then you expect the momentum to continue back to highs, which not a bad bet. Again, not really how I look to try and take my entries, but nothing wrong with that. I always look for retest opportunities. I'm always looking for price to go against me before I do get into a buy, rather than follow momentum. Personal preference, really nothing. I would say there's pros and cons to everything. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a similar move, to be honest. I did say yesterday that if I can get another retest of the low here, price stays corrective, I'm looking at buys. USD is on my watch list. I like the way that price kind of broke out of this descending channel with a lot of momentum, We saw a lovely bullish leg, pullback, another higher low, another higher high. So I do like the buys here for USD. And of course, the higher time frame trend is up as well. So there is that win to our sales too, which could be pushing us all the way back to highs here. So I quite like the buys here with USD. And a retest of that low would be a nice entry opportunity, trying to find simply the next higher low in the sequence. But yeah, if prices are going to pick up momentum, we don't have to necessarily push down again. Price might pick up momentum and just run back to highs from there. So I do like the idea. I would imagine maybe a stop loss is underneath the low here, maybe, or yeah, I mean, I would guess there, or maybe some areas here. But yeah, I do like the idea. I do have the same bias, bullish in USD. If momentum does pick up, then yeah, we probably will push back to highs. Like I said, I'm always a fan of a retest opportunity of price pushing against the direction that I'm expecting price to go and then buying. But sometimes you don't always get those opportunities. Sometimes momentum just picks up and the market just rallies without you. This could be one of those situations. So yeah, I do agree. I do think price is likely to push back into resistance. If the higher time frame trend is going to continue, then I do think price, of course, is going to get back to those highs, and eventually, we are going to get back to those highs there. So there's a lot of upside potential for USD. Definitely a pair on the watch list, which I'm keeping a close eye on. But I do agree for the opportunity there as well. As I said with gold, I'm not really a big fan of the price action, just very, very choppy. To be honest, I mean, the buys at 3,300 do make sense, but I wouldn't be banking on such a crazy move. I think if you can catch a nice buy there, just keep a close eye to see how price develops. I think that's the excuse me. I think that's the best play, because originally I was looking for this trend line to hold. That's not holding anymore, of course. We've pulled back into the prior low, which of course gave us this high. So this is a very, very important low. And so far, price is doing a pretty good job at respecting the low. So if we can continue to do this, that would be brilliant. And then, yeah, I would expect price to rally from then onwards and possibly a swing back to the high and maybe back to 3,500 as well. And maybe beyond too. So yeah, the way I see it, very, very bullish for gold. As long as we stay above this low. If price does break through, I'll be pretty bearish on the 4-hour chart, looking for a swing back to this area where maybe we do see some upside from. So I might be bearish in the short term, but I'm not bearish longer term. If I quickly expand to the daily chart, you can see the trend we still got at play here. Things are still looking very, very, very bullish for gold. So a break of some 4-hour support is not going to change my bias at all. This is still a very, very bullish market. But yeah, if you're looking for buys, keep a close eye at 3,300. I think that's a smart place for a buy. Let's see what type of rejection we can get there. If it does fail, then yeah, I would switch to a bearish bias and look for some retest or some shorting opportunities. Let's take a look at the DAX. So last time I had a look at this one, we were looking pretty bullish. We've had a bit of a pullback and looks like we've just about got a retest. Just about a retest of that wick. You can see with the wicks there, 1 and 2. But yeah, solid reaction this morning. Looks like the DAX enjoyed its London session and is looking pretty bullish. At this point, I still think the DAX can make it back to highs, 24,300. I'm expanding to the daily chart. It looks to me that we've just basically got a retest of the high here. We did dip below slightly, but it looks like we recovered very well. So yeah, to me, just another pullback in the market. We did become very corrective in fairness, so the pullback was pretty likely to happen, which is kind of what I'm expecting with some of the other indices, which we'll take a look at in a moment. But we became very corrective after we took up the high. So I was looking for the pullback. The retest of this high looks to be holding pretty well. We saw some momentum come into the market early in the week. Nice push to the upside. Now we've had a retest of this zone here. I do fancy the DAX to now continue. So in terms of a buying opportunity, ideally, you kind of really want to be in the trade, off the retest of this low here and that momentum shift. If you're not in the position, and you're kind of looking for price to push back there for another retest before buying. Yeah, that would be your kind of desired opportunity. You don't want to be necessarily buying up there and chasing the market. You want the market to come to you. So that would be the area of interest, another retest of that resistance, turn support. And of course, naturally a push back to highs. And yeah, depending how confident you are of the position, you might want to trail all the way back to the highs up here, or you might secure all your gains at the high there. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. As long as you got a positive risk reward, it's a decent trade in my opinion. So yeah, the DAX very bullish. Nice reaction off the low. If you're not in any trades there, I would wait for another pullback, another retest before buying. But my expectation would be at least the swing back to 23,788 and then eventually 24,378, which of course is the all-time highs. So DAX to me still looking pretty bullish. Okay, so we'll go take a look at oil next. Malik, you've got a long position on oil. Okay, we'll go through that. No problem, Elmi, happy to help. If you guys are, by the way, enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel as well. And of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But I do appreciate each and everyone who has dropped a like. It does really help grow the channel, so I do really appreciate that, guys. Anyway, we've got oil. So oil's been pretty bearish. Oil's just been so volatile. I mean, it's been crazy. Humongous move to the upside, and then we've pretty much erased it with this bearish move here. So oil's been very, very, very volatile. I'm looking to see what price does at 66. It looks like price is breaking through slightly. Now, the market isn't always perfect, so if it does recover and see a strong close back above, I would be bullish again and looking for a big buy opportunity here. If I take this across, it's been a very significant level. If you include the wicks there, but this is the way I see it. So I think buys still look really good here with oil. Looks like we're also retesting the high there as well. If I take that across there too. So overall, we're very much in a bullish territory. I know we've had a huge sell-off, so it does look a little bit scary, a little bit daunting, because it's not like we've had a nice slow corrective retracement. The market is plummeted lower. But I think this is a very smart place for a buy. I do think if we can see some healthy rejection and some momentum coming to the market, this is a very smart place for a long. At the moment, we've got a lot of wicks to the downside and a lot of sideways behavior, which I would say is actually a good sign, especially because we had all of this momentum and it's pretty much been flattened. Because if price was really mean business to break through this level, I think we would have broke through by now. And we wouldn't see as much rejection or as much kind of slow down of price. So I've got a feeling that oil is just kind of slowing down to consolidate, and perhaps we might see a strong close off the back of that. And to me, that's a nice entry signal, holding major support, stops below the low, and we can probably trade this back to where we came from, resistance up there, and I do have a massive target at 80, which is the next big target I'm expecting oil to get to. So very, very bullish at the moment. No entry yet. And of course, if you do break through the zone, I would back away from the buys. But as of right now, we're still just about holding on to support, just waiting really for momentum to enter the market. Malik, you got some oil longs from 65, 177. So that's about there-ish. Stops 63, 569. So that's about there. And targets 76, 687. That's around there, basically back to the swing high. Yeah, I like it. Risk to reward looks very, very good on the position. You're probably looking at like a 1 to 8 there or something like that. So the risk to reward looks really, really good. I think the probability looks good as well, based on where you've entered, based on where your stops are. Personally, I would wait for some more momentum to enter the market before entering myself, just to see that, okay, the buyers have stepped into the market and were likely to push higher. Of course, if you do wait for that, it might mean that you're entering on a candle up here. So instead of having an entry there, your entry is going to be here. So instead of the risk reward being a 1 to 8, it might be now a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 4. So it does sabotage the risk reward, but it does give you a little bit more security that the momentum initially will be in your favor. Again, there's no right or wrong with that, because if your trade plays out, more bang for your buck, more reward for the risk. But of course, if it doesn't play out, you avoid the loss by waiting for more confirmation. There's both rights and wrongs there. So that's just my personal preference. I'm not saying that's what you should do. In terms of the entry location, though, I like it, of course, at very significant levels. Stops in a very smart place as well, below the wicks. Target, I think, makes sense. I would manage that position. It's quite a long way, so I would have some plans in between that, whether I'm going to trail stops along the way or have a partial target area where I look to secure some gains, or something just along the way, because it is quite far, and because the market's so volatile, we could push up, have a weird spike down like this before we do continue back to your targets. So I like the trade idea. I like the risk reward. I like the location. Targets make sense. Stop loss makes sense. I would have some type of management plan along the way, just to kind of manage my risk, because it's still a pretty big trade there. But yeah, besides from that, I think it's a very smart trade in a smart location. If price does break the support, the trade wasn't to be, you take the stop loss, on to the next one. But I do like the idea. Okay, where was I? Kingsley, what is up, my man? I hope you are well. All is good with me. Thank you. Yes, Eurocad, no problem. Yeah, we just had a look at Eurocad, major resistance. I'll go through that shortly. Expect a continuation to 1.69. I'm personally looking at some retracement now for Eurocad. Yeah, I mean, it's very bullish, but I do think we can retrace. But yeah, I'll go through that in a bit more detail. What's up, Valentin? Oil's paying longs. I don't understand why there would be more positioning on the downside. I don't know. I mean, I suppose it might be. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, to be fair. It's a good point. I mean, it might not people be looking to play the long-term position with oil. There might just be a lot more sellers at the moment, just taking advantage of the current momentum, but they're looking to exit before swaps do come into play. But it's a good point, to be honest. If you are sitting in a long position, even if it is flat, you can be gaining some profit from swaps, which is definitely a good, it's a positive thing, certainly for the swing traders. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I do go against swap as well. Sometimes I will hold positions through negative swap if I have a lot of confidence in the move. But at this point in time, I've already had a mad sell, so I wouldn't really be looking to try and sell the market anymore. We've already had such a big drop. If I'm looking to sell this, I need to see some type of retracement. I would imagine a lot of sellers should be looking to lock in some gains about now. But it is a good point. Anyway, yeah, we'll go through Eurocad. Kingsley, no problem. Malik, no problem. Happy to help. Look to enter again at 60. Okay, which is down here. Okay, back at these lows. Yeah, okay, so you're very bullish on oil then. Even if we keep falling, you're going to have another stab. I mean, I think I would be as well. I think technically, fundamentally, things are pointing to the upside. But this is a real significant level. This kind of 66 to 65 area is a very significant level for oil. We can even drag it back, and it was holding a support back in 2021 November. So it's been a very critical level for quite a while, a number of years. So the fact that price is now broken above and retesting as support is a pretty significant situation. So from a technical standpoint, if we can maintain this as support, I think that's a huge a huge positive for buyers, and it's an area where we could see some really meaningful swings to the upside from. And of course, fundamentally, due to the conflict, we could see oil gain price gain strength as well. So I really do like this support level. If it does break, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to buy buy oil anymore. Of course, doesn't mean price can't still go up at some point, but losing that confluence would be quite significant in my opinion. If anything, there might be some nice shorts off the back of that. But yeah, at the moment, still very much comfortably at support, so I do think we can still rally. So yeah, in terms of EuroCAD, of course, it has been very, very bullish. We are testing major weekly resistance. If you scoot, actually, if I go to the monthly chart, probably see even better. So if you go to the monthly, draw a box around here, you can see we're approaching major resistance. So not only weekly, I'll probably classify this as monthly, to be honest. There's a thing with support resistance, even though you're coming into major areas of support resistance, just because it's a big level doesn't necessarily mean it has to hold. There's a good chance it does reject, but it doesn't mean it has to. So of course, price can break through. You asked if I'm looking for continuation to 1.69, which I would imagine lines up with the high over here, which I would say would be the next big level for EuroCAD. If we do surpass this one, then that would be the next target. Am I expecting price to rally up there? I mean, nothing would tell me that, to be honest. Nothing would tell me that EuroCAD is likely to make that move unless we see a breakout, of course. Unless price closes comfortably above the highs here, above the level, then yeah, I probably would favor a pushback to 1.69. But at the moment, we're trading at resistance. I would say, things are still looking very, very bullish, but we are still quite corrective as well. So I do think a pullback is on the horizon. But as I said, I wouldn't take any shorts of EuroCAD until I see sustained bearish market structure. So some lower lows and lower highs coming into play. Then something like that would make sense for a short. I wouldn't try and pluck the highs now. Momentum's very bullish. Like I said, price might want to break through the level 2. So got to take that into consideration. But based on where we're trading, based on how we're trading as well, you can see last time we took out highs, we saw a pretty big corrective move here. I think something similar could happen again. So EuroCAD, I like the shorts here. I like the counter trend play. We're at a meaningful level. It makes sense to be selling. You expect a lot of buyers to be looking to secure some gains at these areas. So naturally, I do think we can see a relief for price. But of course, at the moment, we're not really seeing that. So the patience is the most important thing. And maybe we do go and break the highs. But yeah, for me to be favoring a push to 1.69, I need to see this level clear first. Then yeah, 1.69 would be the next guess. At the moment, that is not the case. I mean, if I go to the monthly chart, this month's candle is about to close in, 4 days, 4 or 5 days. So I was going to say I don't think price will do that in the next 4 or 5 days, but I've seen some crazier things in the market, so let me not say that out loud. But yeah, I mean, unless we're going to see a very strong push in the next 4 or 5 days, it looks like price is just going to close within this range here, which could mean that July we do see a bit of downside to start the month. If maybe 4 or 5 days come and we are trading above it, okay, fair enough. Maybe the breakout is here, but I think we're likely just to finish within the range here, within the level, and probably see some downside. So yeah, that's what I'll be favoring for EuroCAD. Just have to stay patient. Pound Aussie, I do like this one. At the moment it is ranging and I don't like the current price action, but if we can see a breakout, I think there could be some very nice buying opportunities for this one. We do have a very long-term long-term trend at play. You can see the higher highs and higher lows. Maybe not the most pretty trend you ever see. It's a very corrective one. So yeah, I would I have been looking for Pound Aussie to have that bigger pullback, but it just hasn't come into play. But yeah, as I was saying, we do have a bit of a range here, and if the larger trend is going to continue, then we should be seeing a break to the upside here of this range, of that resistance, and that naturally should take us back into the highs here at 2.15. So if Pound Aussie does mean business and we are going to get a break to the upside and this trend is going to continue, then I want to see something like this happen. Then we can speak about some pullbacks or retests hopefully, and some buying opportunities shortly afterwards. So pound Aussie, I don't mind this pair. I quite like it if we do get a decent breakout. If we kind of just flap around and start to fall back over, then yeah, I won't really entertain it, to be honest. But if I do see a confirmed break to the upside, I feel like we will, because I'm looking at Euro Aussie, which looks very bullish. I'm looking at pound NZD, which looks bullish as well. I mean, Euro NZD, which looks bullish as well. So Euro Aussie, Euro NZD look bullish. I think pound NZD and pound Aussie are set to follow. They're just kind of lagging behind a little bit because pound has been not as strong as Euro. But I think that could change soon. But yeah, if this trend is going to continue, should see a strong break of resistance here, and that should take us back to highs at 2.15. And this would be the opportunity I would look to see if I can take advantage of. Of course, in the meantime, there might be some sells from this level, but I'm not really interested in shorting pound Aussie, because I think at this point in time, with the way that we've reacted with lows, the momentum we've seen, it does look like things are shifting and price can see more upside. I was looking for us to sell off, but that just hasn't been the case. I'm also looking at pound NZD in a similar light as well. We've got a big consolidation here. The market's been very, very flat. As you can see, kind of just respecting highs, respecting lows. Same sort of situation as pound Aussie. If we can see price go and clear resistance here, do it with some nice momentum, well, I would say there's a very good chance that we are going to push higher and probably push back into highs there, 2.32. And this overall uptrend, which again has been very corrective, but in fairness, it has been just continuing very, very well. Looks at that point likely to continue, and a push back to highs would be my best guess. So pound NZD, pound Aussie, both trading into major resistance. If we can clear that, I think that sets the tone for pound Aussie and pound NZD going into July, and I think a push back to the highs up there looks fairly likely. It does depend on the breakout though. The breakout needs to be with some healthy momentum. We need to clear it by some distance as well. I'm not looking for prices to see a close like that just above. That's the start of a breakout. Move to close back below in the next candle, we're back to square one. So I do want to see price give me sustained breakout, so a healthy push, maybe 2 or 3 candles, a big one as well, and then look for some type of pullback afterwards for the continuation. And same situation for pound Aussie as well. But yeah, for both of them, I am bullish, looking for buying opportunities. I do think the break to the upside is likely. Like I said, Euro Aussie and Euro NZD, which are very similar pairs to both pound NZD and pound Aussie, are looking quite bullish. So that's kind of the reason why I do expect pound Aussie and pound NZD to break higher, because again, these guys have kind of set the standard, set the tone with their bullish trends. Nice, Malik. Hopefully you can get the breakout later today. Yes, I should be, yeah. So yeah, I should be on the stream. I haven't been told otherwise. So yeah, I should be on the stream later today, which is at 1:45, I think, UK time. So in about 2 hours 45 minutes from now, I'll be on Nick's channel. So if you're free, yeah, goes for everyone. Make sure you pop in, say hi. But yeah, USD looking very bullish to me as well. I haven't actually spoke about the yen pairs yet, and they've been a little bit interesting, haven't they? We saw a little bit of, I keep misspelling basket. We saw a bit of strength come in for the yen. We saw some strength come in for the yen. And that's caused some reaction on some of the other yen pairs. And we have pulled back into resistance, and we're going to see what price can do at this level. I am still pretty bearish on the yen. So as we push back into this high here, I'm still looking for us to respect it and come back down. We are still very, very consistent with all of these prior swing highs. And the plan very much is I'm expecting another one to form. If, of course, price was to break higher and take out the high like this, And then yes, I would pause with that bearish bias on the yen basket. Maybe at that point we can reverse, but I'm not seeing any signs for that just yet. So as we do push back into resistance, I am looking for a high to form or a lower high to form and a push down. If that could close with some more momentum, that would be a nice entry signal on the hourly actually. 4 hour, of course, there's not much there, but I do think we can continue to fall and push back into these lows and continue our journey. As I see it, this structure is still very much in play. We have cleared the lows here, and I'm looking to see if we can push back to the lows there. If price does take up the high, then I would stand corrected. I will stand corrected, and then I'll probably look to change my bias. But yeah, I do still feel like yen can continue to fall. We did see a nice move for dollar yen yesterday. We had that head and shoulder pattern, which actually played out pretty well. This was a nice trade in like the 15-minute chart. If I drop to the 15, a nice push into that resistance, another lower high. So we had that massive rally, price push right back down again. You can see we broke structure here, which is what made me bearish. Then we had the pullback, nice retest of that level, and kind of like a nice counter trend line break there as well. And since that was a lovely push down. We did speak briefly about some buys here, about the retest of the range. Didn't really provide much of a retest. Again, price broke through, not much of rejection, so the buys were never really there anyway. Again, a big part of trading is just be able to react to what the market gives you, because again, we are traders at the end of the day. We're not here to predict the future. We're here to react to what the market is doing. You know, a trade is something you have to react to, not necessarily predict, unless if you're trading like a systematic system, then of course you've got set rules which you have to abide by. If you're a bit more discretionary, like myself, you do have some rules you follow, but you do have things where you have to look at the market and deem, is it a smart trade to take? Is it not a smart trade to take? Are we seeing healthy rejection? Are we not seeing healthy rejection? Those are things you have to train your eye and train yourself to spot and react to. Yesterday I mentioned some sells at the high here. We saw some nice healthy rejection. We got a lovely move down. We also talk about some buys at the low of the range here. The market could potentially form a higher low and push higher. Of course, in hindsight, we can see that didn't happen, but there were no signs of it going to happen, which is the key thing, the key point I'm trying to drill home. Which is why, yes, have a bias, have ideas in the market, have expectations, but always let price kind of dictate whether that your original bias or your original expectation is going to happen. Because as price got to this level, momentum never really showed signs of reversal. We stayed bearish. Yes, some rejection at the lows there, but at that point, a higher low isn't likely. This wick already took out the low there, and we continued falling. So there was no buy to take advantage of there. But yeah, really nice drop there for dollar yen. Smashed through the lows there as well. There is a chance we might push all the way back to the low here. Again, now that we're kind of within the range, I'm not so interested with trading inside of that. Dan, dollar CAD, dollar yen. Okay, we'll take a look. I mean, we're on dollar yen at the moment, but yes, we can take a look. Hey, appreciate it, Malik. Thank you. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the stream. It does really help out to the channel. It does really help out and helps promote the content out there. If you are finding it useful, you're enjoying it, please do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe, and of course hit the bell whilst you're at it so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Also, how's my mic and how's my camera today? Is it lagging? Is it buffering? Past few days has been causing some issues. I think the mic was good yesterday, but my camera was lagging a bit. So let me know if it does continue to lag, or is it good? But yeah, we'll go through USD CAD and USD JPY. Of course, we're on USD JPY right now. But yeah, as I said, for dollar yen, in terms of the next move, I'm kind of just waiting to see how price develops, really, because Now we're back within the range. I don't really have so much of a bias. When we're trading at the upper end of the range or the low end of the range, I can come up with ideas, I can come up with setups, whether price is going to respect the level, whether price is going to break the level. I can base trading ideas from that situation, just like we did yesterday. The break and retest. Now we've got the continuation after the big fake out to the upside. So that was a nice opportunity, but it was a lot helped because we're at the high, so we can base our ideas from there. Now that price is kind of in the middle of the range, I wouldn't do anything. Not that you can't find an idea, but it won't be as high quality as it would be if it's at the low, at the high. So personally, I would stay away. I mean, momentum looks bearish, so it looks like we might get back to the lows anyway. If you're very intraday and looking for opportunities, there might be an opportunity for a retest of the range here for some shorts and a continuation. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan because of where we're situated. I'd rather price be back at the highs where it's just a much more comfortable place to short, where I can get a relatively safe stop loss and maximize my risk to reward. Whereas here, it's just a bit more noisy. Again, the trade could still play out, but on average, you have a little bit more going for you up at the high or at the low than in the middle. But yeah, if we can push to the low end of the range, there might be some nice buys to take advantage of when we get there again. There might be a nice bounce there. Of course, we'll see what price action gives us, whether the buys are valid or not, or look good or not. If we do break the lows, then we're likely to push back to this low. So with dollar yen, the way I see it, we're just ranging, waiting for a breakout. We thought we had one at the start of the week. That wasn't the case. Market just formed another lower high compared to this high. Now we're back within the range. It looks like we're pushing back into support. So if you want to take a bit more of a risky trade, there is a break and retest opportunity on the lower time frames there. If you want to be a bit more patient, there might be some buys off the low here, or there might be a break and retest opportunity there. But my focus would be on this area rather than the middle. All seems fine today? Okay, good. Thanks for letting me know. That is good to hear. Yeah, cheers, Alec. Thanks for letting me know. Lauda, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Hope all is well with you. Okay, so dollar Canadian. So this one pretty bearish. As I said yesterday, I was looking for the double top at 1.378, which was this level. Unfortunately, the price has just not got the energy as of yet to retest that level for a sell. I'm still looking to see if we can push back to the lows here. That's still my expectation for dollar CAD. I did say that if we don't get the retest of the high, the double top, then the next best opportunity probably would just be a break of support and then a pullback after that. You've got one high over here. You've got a second one over there. Not really confirmed yet, but if we can break the low, it will be. Then you can be looking at a third lower high, perhaps on the retest of that same support level. It has held price very well. I think it could act as some really healthy resistance. This would be a nice trade idea, like an hourly chart. This would be something a bit more full hour. But dollar CAD, very bearish. USD still looks pretty bearish to me. I think there's still a bit more downside left for USD, for the DXY in general. I still think the DXY could still fall, which should keep dollar CAD bearish as well. I do think we can still see more downside. Not too sure if we'll get that retest there. I think this setup looks a little bit more likely, so keep an eye on the lower time frames, but there is no sign of bullish momentum coming into the market or any meaningful bullish momentum coming into the market, so I think we're still likely to fall. What's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I am doing good. I'm doing good. Yes, we can take a look at USDZAR, no problem. Was in time for dollar CAD. Fair enough. But yeah, dollar CAD still looks pretty bearish to me, so I think we're still likely to fall. USD weakness has really crept into the market since yesterday. In terms of dollar ZAR, so USD ZAR, okay, we did break lower for this one as well yesterday. Makes sense because of course USD weakness came into the market as well. But yeah, USDs are looking pretty bearish at the moment. Again, I still do think the bigger move for USDs is a push back into these lows. So that's still my expectation. But I was looking for a bigger pullback this week. I was hoping to see USDs push back into 18.4, 18.3. Looks like this is the pullback we've got. Kind of like a breaking test of the low here. It looks like we're seeing a push to the downside off the back of that. I was speaking about some buys off the low here. Looks like that didn't really play out. Market did see some momentum, but that failed and price ended up ripping through the lows there. So no bounce, no successful bounce there for USDZAR, or at least the big one anyway. And now price is breaking through the lows. So in terms of an opportunity now for USDZAR, because we are breaking through lows, I would take that as a sign that, okay, the market has had the pullback and now are likely to continue. So there might be some short opportunities of a retest of this range. I would wait for price to see some more downside first. One candle breaking through the lows never really excites me. I want to see price either put at least 2 or 3 with some nice momentum, and then I'll be happy to look for some pullbacks. One candle is always just very, very sensitive to the fake outs. We close below one candle, close back above on the next. That's a very, very frequent theme in the currency market. So I'm always skeptical of one candle breakouts unless it's really, really big, which in this case that's not the case. So yeah, I do want to see a bit more downside for USDZAR, and then this range here could be a very nice place for a short, especially like intraday hourly chart. If not, then I'll be looking at this range here, because if this is our next lower high, and of course price just created our next low, that means USDZAR shouldn't be taking out this high if we're gonna stay bearish. So a pull back into this zone will be a smart place for a short, and a likely area where we can continue to sell off. Like I said, longer term targets still lie at the low. Can probably keep a close eye on this area here as well. That's a nice intermediate target on the way down. But yeah, USDZAR looking bearish to me because we are breaking the lows. As I suggested, I would want to see a bit more downside before I would look for the retest of this area. And if price has a much deeper retest than anticipated, there is this area above us where we did see a lot of momentum and no retest yet. So that to me looks like a very nice area of supply and an area which we're likely to react from. So yeah, USDZAR looks like the bears are stepping in, taking control of the market, likely to continue falling. 2 break and retest ideas, targets 17.268 and 17.069. I think, yeah, but I would wait for a bigger breakout before looking for some retests, because at the moment it is actually retesting now, like on a 15-minute chart, but I wouldn't bank on that for a swing trade. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. Pound CAD, Lauder, sure thing, we'll take a look. We've been going through a lot of Euro CAD. Haven't looked at Pound CAD yet. And that is looking exceptionally bullish. So I keep saying USD. Pound CAD looks like it will be getting a close above this resistance level. I did say yesterday that this is a very important level for Pound CAD because for a number of weeks we've tried to take out these highs, but every single week we have failed, and we have failed to see a close above this price. We get a lot of wicks, but never a close. Now with this week's candle, it is probably safe to say that we were likely going to close above, unless we're going to see some crazy price action between now and the end of the week. There's a very, very slim chance that we're going to pull all the way back to close below If we do that, that would be crazy. And if we do that, that means next week I'll be expecting some big sells for pound CAD if that's the case, because we have a really big wick rejection at that point. I think next week we'll just roll over, but let's be honest, that's not likely to happen. So what it does mean is that it looks like price is breaking out, and this could mean more upside for pound CAD. Now, pound CAD is a very overextended market. It's been trending for a while, since the low of since September 2022, we've been trending to the upside. So the market is quite stretched. I'm not too sure how far we can go. I mean, there's major highs over here. That could be where we're working towards long term, but we're not too concerned with price action there just yet. There is some supply to our left over here. Maybe we're pushing back towards that kind of territory before selling off. The key kind of situation I'm looking at for pound CAD is that the market's been trading for a while. I do think there will be a pretty big bearish move at some point in time, but it doesn't look like it's now anyway. So what would I do here for pound CAD? Probably nothing, to be honest. I mean, I can see price is just gone and taken out the highs there. So I do think at some point we will go through a bit of a pullback, but yeah, I mean, if we can get some bearish structure into play, similar to EuroCAD, there might be some nice sells off the back of that. Might find a nice lower high somewhere to short. But at the moment, again, we need a lot of development before I can start to recommend that and start to mention some selling opportunities. If anything, there might be a bit of a correction and more upside. So there's not a lot to do with pound CAD at this point in time. Market's very bullish. Higher time frames are very bullish as well. We're just going to sweat through the highs. Yes, I do expect to see price pull back and have a bit of a dip. The trend's been going on for so long. I do think there's going to be a pretty big reversal when it does happen. But again, there's no signs of it happening just yet. So with this break to the upside, momentum has very much chosen the bullish side of things, and we can still rally for the remainder of the week as well. So yes, I'm expecting some downside. I do think there'll be a nice counter trend move where shorts could look good, because I think the market's quite stretched now as well. So I would be personally kind of getting ready for some shorting opportunities. I'm not really liking the buys, especially with the fact that we've already taken out the highs there as well. So I'm not really seeing any good buying opportunities. Maybe the retest of the high here, but personally I don't like it because it's very close to the high here. I feel like if we can have a deep pullback, then maybe somewhere down here I might be interested to long the pair again, because I know I'm away from all the noise. So something like that I would like to buy, not up at the highs here. We're too bullish. So expect a retracement for pound CAD. There might be some shorts off the back of that. Keep an eye. In terms of a swing bias, I'd wait for a much bigger pullback before looking to buy to follow the trend. Maybe around the 1.85 area might be sufficient. But yeah, pound CAD's been a little bit of a mess, to be honest. Big rally out of nowhere. Very corrective on the way down, and suddenly, boom, huge move. Personally, I don't see much to do with price now. No problem, Lighton. Sales would be great. I do agree. I think there's a lot of momentum there. So hopefully there's a nice break and retest opportunity there for a short. Tommy CAD Yen. Okay, we'll have a look. I haven't actually gone through any of the CAD, the yen pairs yet. But CAD Yen, yeah, pretty bearish. I think that's a mix to do with the yen a little bit strong, but more so CAD being weak. CAD has been relatively weak over the past few days. But yeah, we did end up respecting resistance here. We did have the trend line break, which made things awkward. Again, trend lines is not something I use to necessarily dictate market structure or trend. Market structure is what I use for that. Higher highs and higher lows. If the market takes out a price swing low, that's a break of structure. That's when I do expect to see price move in the opposite direction. A trend line break is just a loss of confidence, in my opinion. It's like, okay, if you can have a trend line supporting your idea, that's great. If the trend line does break, all it does is just lower the probability of price, playing out in your favor. I don't normally look to follow trend line breaks. In this case, we did break through the trend line, so it made things a little bit awkward, but more importantly, we broke through the high here. Because the original plan this week for CAD Yen was sharp break to the upside, pullback, retest, higher low over here. So with the trend line and with the support level. But we didn't do that. We broke through both of those confluences, which is kind of why I backed away. Of course, the market isn't perfect, so it could break below, but still recover and still push. But I just wasn't interested myself to find entries because we were trading below. And in this case, we had a retest and some downside. And now we're very much below both confluences, very much below support, very much below the trend line. So with CAD Yen now, I think this is more of a bearish signal than a bullish one, especially taking into consideration how corrective we've been on the way up. I'm looking at this as kind of like the market spiking through some highs, maybe a big anticlimactic wick there. And this could end up being the next major swing high. 1, 2, 3. And perhaps now price is getting ready to rally back to lows or sell off back to lows. This could be the next high, and now we potentially could be ready for our next wave. I've been pretty bullish in CAD Yen. It looked like at one point price is going to break to the upside, and it did break to the upside. But momentum has very much slowed, and to me this is looking like a bearish signal, and the break of the trend line, the break of the support level is kind of what shows me that. So I would be looking at selling opportunities now with CAD Yen. This is of course our last up move which caused this sell, so as long as we don't go and break through that, this is kind of a zone where I would expect a lower high to form and more downside. I think I'll keep things relatively simple. Yes, I'm expecting this type of swing, but especially in the lower time frames, you're not looking to take advantage of that swing in one move. If you can get a nice pullback on the lower time frames and ride it to this low or to this low, that would be a good trade within itself. You don't have to look for the home run or even back down here as well. But yeah, CAD Yen to me looks like there's some downside to be had. I think CAD looks weak. Yen's gained some strength. Yen's going to play a big role in this. To be honest, we'll go take a look at some more yen pairs. But to me, CAD Yen looks like we can continue to fall. And I wouldn't be surprised if we push back down to 101. So yeah, we'll take a look at Euro Aussie next for Dan Lauder. Happy to help, no problemo. Good morning, Yusuf. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. Thank you. Help me with market structure on GU, EU, GJ. No problem. Gold as well on the 15. Okay, we can have a look, see. I'll go take a look at Euro Aussie for Dan, and I'll go through those 15-minute time frames. So yeah, Euro Aussie, pretty bullish on this one. Again, if I quickly just go back to the daily chart, you can see the overall trend is to the upside. I mean, we've come through a massive consolidation, but since the break of that, the price has been trending pretty well to the upside, with this being our most recent swing high. And at this point in time, it looks like that's where price is headed towards, back to the swing high. We've got some bullish structure here in the 4-hour chart, which the market is in full flow of. I did mention this area, yes, there's a nice place for a buy. I still stand by that. I think that is a nice place for a buy. You've got pretty confident bullish structure at play. You've got a nice healthy area of demand just below here. We had a brief pause in the market, a really big 4-hour candle breaking through the zone there, which shows us that this had a very kind of, this is a very significant area where a lot of buyers came into the market and a lot of bullish pressure came into the market. So if we were to tap back into that, we might see a repeat, more buyers enter, and a continuation. And of course, this bullish move here looks quite corrective to me. So I think another push down is not unreasonable. It's still a likely bet. And I think that's still a nice place to find some entries, stops below the low, and a target back into the swing high. And we probably line up pretty well with some nice trendline confluence there too. So there's a lot of confluence in this area, just below 1.78. Nice consolidation, strong push to the upside, a healthy area for a pullback. giving us somewhat of a nice bear flag opportunity, or bull flag opportunity, I should say, and then a buy off the back of that, and natural targets back to the swing high, in line with the higher time frame trend. And there's a possibility you can hold some positions to run back into the swing high, maybe beyond that as well. So yeah, the way I see it, Euro Aussie pretty bullish. I like the buys for this one. I think Euro NZ looks a little bit better, but they're very similar opportunities, so I would expect upside there as well. All right, Malik, take care. Catch you on the next stream. Okay, cool. Hopefully we'll see you there as well. But thanks for coming on. Have a good one. So yeah, hopefully that made sense with Euro Aussie. We'll go take a look at GU, GJ, EU, and gold on the 15. So yeah, I mean, these guys are just looking very, very bullish at the moment in time now. So the 50-minute for me is pretty straightforward in terms of direction, at least. In terms of trying to find an opportunity, that's where it gets a little bit interesting, because right now, pound USD, seeing very minuscule pullbacks. These are the highs and lows you're getting. So of course, that shows that there's a lot of momentum in the market. That's maybe another pullback for us to keep going there. Typically, I look for deeper pullbacks in the market. That's kind of my forte. This is kind of our last deeper-ish pullback. It wasn't that deep in terms of the distance, but it did take some time before we did see some continuation. So a retest of that range would be a nice area, but still very, very far away. There's a brief range here, which did give us a nice momentum. This could end up being a nice place for a buy. If you see a nice corrective pullback there, maybe a nice double bottom, some wicks, that could end up being a nice place for a buy and a continuation. There's a lot of momentum in the market right now. So a pullback to retest the zone like this, it's probably not looking that likely anymore. Of course, things can change, but this looks a lot more likely than this. Of course, I'll keep an eye on this just in case. Not rule anything out, but in terms of actually finding a trade and some entries, I would say that range there looks your best bet, 1.371. Nice impulsive move. If you can see a nice correction back into that zone, some healthy rejection, I would bet on another reaction and a swing back to highs. So very, very simple, pound USD in terms of direction. Clear break to the upside. We did speak about the possible retest of this area. Of course, that never happened. A retest of this area would be nice as well. Let's see if that happens. But I think realistically, judging momentum, judging how the trend is flowing at the moment, this is probably your best bet for a trade. But yeah, if we do somewhat have a bigger pullback, then 1.364 is something to keep an eye on. Euro USD, pretty much the same situation. Big break to the upside here as well. Again, I like the range here, which we've left behind. Ideally, that would be a nice place for a retest. Momentum still looking pretty strong at the moment. Again, this is a similar range to what you just saw with pound USD. A pullback into that, another higher low. Could be a smart trade. Again, I want to see corrective pullbacks. I don't want to see any strong selling pressure come into the market. That would be a bit of a red flag. But things can stay nice, slow, and corrective. That would be something I'll be interested in. Nice range here. A lot of momentum came into the market from that same zone. And yeah, I'll expect price to make its way back to highs. At the moment, you've got daily, weekly, monthly. Maybe not so much monthly, but weekly, daily, 4-hour, hourly. All these time frames point to the upside. So you got a lot of synchronicity here between the time frames and between trends. So market's very bullish. 50-minute chart, I'll only be looking for buys. Just waiting for a healthy pullback, some decent rejection, and looking to follow that back to highs, so on and so forth. In terms of GJ, is that what you mentioned? So GJ with this one, again, not as bullish as pound. GJ, we did see some strength with the yen, so that's kind of made it a little bit awkward. But again, in terms of the direction for GJ, it's still very much up. So as a 50-minute trader, I would be looking at buying opportunities still. I did mention this area here yesterday as a nice range for where we kind of consolidated and we saw a lot of momentum come from. I think that's still a very nice place for a buy. That's still where I'd be looking to see price can get to. We've had a bit of a range over here as well. that's broken to the downside. So this is kind of seller's area here. That could still probably give us a bit of a short. I think the bigger move is still with the buyers, and this is kind of the zone which I want to where I want to see the buyers step back in, or at least see some healthy entry signals. But this is our last swing low, and this is our last swing high. So we've got all of this range to play with before expecting a continuation. Really nice range here. This is where the momentum came from. I expect more buyers to be entering the market at a similar price. So yeah, pound yen, I like the way we're moving. It's corrective so far as well, which is something you want to see for a retracement. I don't want to see price plummet to the downside. That'll be a red flag. If we can keep that up, stay nice and corrective, I think that's a nice place for a buy. Then keeping it simple, swing back to the highs there, it makes the most sense. Yes, Jay, we'll take a look at euro and pound. And then, of course, you got gold, which at the moment, I think is still pretty bearish, at least on the 15. You've got massive lows down here. Price hasn't quite taken them out. It looks to me that we're having some type of a pullback here. This to me looks like a prior low, which we're coming back to retest. There's some supply here to our left as well. The way I see it, to me, it looks like price is just correctly moving before we do get that drop. So yeah, gold in my opinion, on the 15, I feel like we're likely to drop because basically we're just continuing, you know, this bearish structure here at play. We were looking for some buys, but never really happened. We failed to take out the highs there, and price had a really aggressive sell. Now that we've seen all that momentum, I just see this as another pullback for price to push down. So maybe what we can be looking for is some wicks in this area, maybe a nice double top, and then some shorts, you know, back into this low, and then we'll go from there. Maybe we break through, maybe we respect it. Is yet to be seen. But yeah, I would be short bias here for gold. On the 15, that is. So yeah, hopefully that made sense on the 15 for those markets. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. It does really help out, and subscribe to the channel. We'll go through Euro USD next, and Pound Aussie. Anton, okay, we'll take a look at the DAX as well. So Euro USD, as I mentioned with this one, just very, very bullish, to be honest. So from a 4-hour perspective, I like this high here and this range as well. Lines up pretty well. Of course, price got back into the high, struggled for a little bit, consolidated, then suddenly a big break to the upside, leaving behind some nice support, which we can pull back to retest. At the moment, trend is very much up. Higher time frames are looking very bullish as well. 4-hour chart just had a massive breakout through that level too. That does leave the opportunity behind for a nice retest and a continuation. And you know, next big psychological level, 1.18. I mean, if I do expand to the weekly chart, I mean, there's some areas up here, 1.18, 1.19, which we could be looking to work towards. But yeah, at the moment, very, very bullish here for Euro USD, and just looking for a break and retest to continue that momentum. GBP AUD, very bullish as well, but struggling at resistance. We do need to break through that level if we are being serious and if we are going to mean business with the buying opportunities. Because the way I see it, Pound Aussie is kind of just very, very flat, moving sideways. If we are going to rally back to 2.15 here, then I do need to see price commit past resistance, and that would be the green light to say, okay, buyers have stepped in, sellers can't hold price anymore. This uptrend still has, still has room left to go. It still is looking bullish, and the likelihood is that we are going to push back to highs here. So at that point, I'll be very bullish in Pound Aussie, and if I should go back to the daily chart, I'll be very bullish in Pound Aussie and simply just looking for the break and retest of this level. So strong break, pull away, retest, and then continuation. And then, yeah, maybe a push back to the highs, at least the high here. Wherever we break out towards would make a healthy target. But if you want to try and stretch the trades, yeah, possibly a swing back to highs would make sense as well. So yeah, pound Aussie definitely bullish as well. Okay, we'll go through the DAX as well. Don't understand. Focus on GU better. Not too sure. Oh, you mean GU better than Euro USD, Anton? Otherwise, I'm not too sure what you mean. But yeah, in terms of the DAX, last time I checked, it was looking pretty bullish. We had a look this morning, and we've had a lovely reaction of some support. And yeah, price is looking pretty bullish since then. So ideally, if you're not in a trade for the DAX, but you're looking to enter, you do want to see price pull back and retest the level again for some entries. But my expectation is a push back into resistance here at 23,778. And then a push back to the highs there at 24,378, which of course is the all-time highs. But the way I see it, we've had a lovely pullback for the DAX because we did get very, very tight at one stage. Lovely up move, but we became very, very corrective here. Price had the pullback, a retest of the high of the range. We did dip below slightly, but we have recovered that. Again, the market isn't perfect. We're not always going to test levels to the exact pip. Sometimes price is going to break below, then break above. But for the most part, support here is holding. And the most important thing is we are seeing a shift between this bearish structure over here and now the bullish structure here. So at this point, this bearish structure has ended, and now we're seeing bullish structure push up. So now that we are respecting this zone, I would expect us to go see some new highs past this point. But yeah, in terms of an entry, don't really want to be entering now, kind of chasing the market. So ideally, you want to see the market have another retest of the level, and then you can base some entries off that. And then, of course, targets back at the high, so on and so forth. But yeah, the DAX to me still very, very bullish. George, CHF JPY, please check. Okay, we'll have a look. See, I'm actually gonna go through the rest of the yen pairs. So yeah, CHF JPY new all-time highs past couple of days. So again, when price is at all-time highs, I'm not looking to continue to buy that, especially in FX. Indices is a different situation because indices, they keep going. FX, we tend to keep going a little bit, but we will normally have a pretty big sell shortly afterwards. So, you know, we could still see higher highs for the next few days, but I would expect the bigger move to be the sell. So that's kind of where my interest does lie. Because if you think about it, anyone who is in some long-term swings for Swiss yen, where their target's going to be, probably the all-time high. Maybe a little bit beyond that if they're really trying to milk the market for what it's worth. But more or less, all-time high is a logical target for a lot of swing positions. So the fact that we have hit all-time highs does tell me that we should see a lot of people taking profit, which of course should invoke a lot of selling pressure into the market, and a pullback should happen pretty soon. Of course, it might not be now. We might trend a little bit higher for a couple of days before the pullback happens, or maybe for another week or two. But I would expect the bigger move for Swiss yen to be a big sell. So that's really what I'm getting ready for. At the moment, that's not the case. The market still looks pretty bullish to me. Yeah, we're kind of failing at highs here, but nothing significant. We very much could just go and break through in the next rally. So I'm not going to be using that to base my selling ideas from. If I'm going to look to short Swiss yen, I need to see sustained bearish market structure. So lower lows and lower highs coming into the market. Then I can try and spot a lower high somewhere to short, because at least I can be a lot more confident that, okay, structure is now pointing down. The chances are we are going to see a lower high off the back of that. So Swiss yen, I'm more interested in the sells. If you are looking to continue to buy the market, there is a nice level here, which is 178,385. I think that's a nice place for a buy as well. Again, I'll keep it short and sweet. If you can get a push back to the high there, call it a day probably. These are all-time highs. You don't necessarily have a target beyond that. You can trail stops if you want, but I always secure most of my profit at the high. But yeah, I do think the bigger move will be with the sellers. So I'm kind of just waiting for that to come around. Yes, the market's still bullish. Yes, there's still some nice areas to buy from. Yes, we're still keeping up with these higher lows. But I do think in the next coming days, maybe a week or two, we are going to get a juicy sell. So I'm staying patient for that. But if you are going to look to buy, I think for now, 178.3 looks the best level to me. But it will depend what the yen does. Dollar CHF, okay, we'll take a look. So yeah, dollar CHF still very bearish. I think that one still has more downside to endure. I'm going into the monthly chart and just gauging the overall direction of the trend. There's a massive level of support here, which is the all-time low of dollar CHF. I've drawn a line where the bodies do lie, and 0.786 is kind of where I've got that level at. I do think price is likely to push back into 0.786 to go and test that level. So I still think there's more downside to be had with dollar CHF. Of course, we had a nice break and retest. We had a nice break and retest of this level. Excuse me. We had a nice break and retest of this level over here. Price support once, twice, time resistance. And now, of course, the trend has simply just continued. So if we're going to try and find some more shorting opportunities, we do kind of want to see a bit of a pullback. And something like that would look nice. You can see we had a pullback, retested the range there, got a nice continuation. I did say on the lower time frames there might be a nice opportunity off the retest of this area. Nice brief pause there, strong push down. That could provide some nice retest, also lines up with the prior low. If the market does go through a much bigger pullback, we do have a nice area of supply, resistance up there, which would be a very nice place for a retest of resistance before the big sell. But I do still see us falling. Like I said, that monthly support, I think, will draw price to it. We are in a larger downtrend in the higher time frames. And at this point, it looks like we're just seeing the continuation of that. So dollar CHF to me, looking pretty bearish, likely to continue. Just looking to short on a break and retest. These are two different ideas on two different kind of time frame horizons. This is a bit more of an intraday trade. I wouldn't try and short it all the way down there though from an intraday position. I think if you do get a short here, the idea is, okay, that's a nice break and retest. Probably just call it a day back at the swing low. If I'm going to look to try and take advantage of a big swing, I'd wait for a big pullback at least. So something like that would interest me for a big move. This is just kind of taking your piece of the cake and run. But yeah, very, very bearish as a whole. My bias is to the downside for dollar CHF. Menchi, what's up? Euro yen, please. Okay, we'll take a look. No problemo. So yeah, Euro yen's an interesting one. Euro yen's an interesting one. We are kind of just dancing above this major high. Is this a breakout or is this a fake out? I will know the answer by the end of the week, I would suggest. It is looking like a breakout to me, and if it is a breakout, then I would be looking at the next major high, which would be the high up here, 174, 175. So if price is going to leave this, yeah, if price is going to mean business, break through this high, then that would be the next target. After all, we do have this uptrend, which perhaps is just going to continue. So if that's the case with Euro yen, then I have been looking for some pullbacks. I did suggest at the start of the week, I'll keep an eye on the retest of this level. Of course, haven't quite got that yet, but we might be seeing price pull back down to retest it and then get the move, kind of in like a bit of a bull flag situation. There's your impulse, correction 1, correction 2, then off the back, maybe you find some nice buying opportunities there. Of course, prior resistance here, strong break, just looking for the retest of the high. So I quite like what I'm seeing here with Euro Yen. I think there's more upside to be had with this pair. Of course, if this is the real deal, if this is the big breakout, as I just mentioned, price could very much swing all the way back to the highs up there at 174. So there's a lot of upside on the cards here. In terms of just a decent entry, just to swing it back to the high here, not really focusing too much about the bigger move. I think this makes a lot of sense. There's quite clearly an uptrend here on the 4-hour chart, consistent high lows. There's a rough trend line connecting the dots there. I think there's a good chance another one does form. So at the moment, Euro Yen very bullish. If we sustain that, I do think we're just going to see another swing back to high in terms of entries. I do want price to come a lot lower first before buying. If we do go break through the trend line and break through this structure here, then that's when I'll shift to bearish. But we're a long way away from that. So for now, just going to stay consistent with the buys and wait to see if we can get a retest of 167.5. So that's where the focus will be. Emmanuel, welcome. Euro USD. Okay, I'll do USD CAD. I'm not on Euro USD, but I will take a look at USD CAD for you. Yusuf, okay, no problem. Okay, fair enough. All right, take care, my man. Take care. Have a great day as well. I appreciate it. Okay, I'll go through dollar CAD for you. So yeah, dollar CAD, I do have a bearish bias for this one, another USD pair. Of course, dollar still looking very, very weak at the moment in time. So looks like the dollar bears are in control of all the USD majors at the moment. It looks to me that this bearish trend here for dollar CAD is just likely to continue. So with USD CAD, I did say there's kind of two ideas I have for this one. Both are looking to sell it. I like this zone here, which we tapped into at the start of the week. I was looking to see if price can retest that, double top and then short. Unfortunately, that looks like we won't get that. But if we can drop to the hourly chart, I think there is an opportunity which we could probably find and take advantage of, which is a strong break of this support level and then some pullbacks afterwards, and then looking for the continuation. Because if we aren't going to see that pullback to retest the high, and we are just going to break through the low, great. That does leave us the opportunity for the retest of this area, which has proved to be some solid support recently. So if we can crack through that, I think that's a great area for a short, and the likelihood is that we do end up back at lows here. So yeah, dollar CAD, I do see more downside. The reason why dollar CAD hasn't fallen as much as you would expect it to do, compared to Euro USD being very bullish, compared to Pound USD being very bullish, is because CAD's been pretty weak as well. So it's kind of two weak currencies against each other. At the moment, it looks like dollar is the slightly weaker one. But I do think that will continue, and we can get back down to 1.356. So keep an eye on this break and retest, especially intraday. This would be nice up at the highs there, but I'm not too sure if we get the opportunity there for dollar CAD. But yeah, the market's still pretty bullish. We had that initial reaction coming into this zone from this kind of area of demand here to our left. Nice kind of brief consolidation, brief pause. Price then ripped to the upside and had a very aggressive reaction. Now I do think we're likely to continue falling. And a target of 1.35581 looks really good to me. So yeah, pretty bearish on dollar CAD. This is a pair on my watch list. I'm keeping a close eye on it. Yeah, I mean, dollar did crack through lows, so I think dollar can pull back, to be honest, which could help us out with dollar CAD, to be honest. If the DXY does pull back, then USD CAD might pull back along with it. But yeah, really meaningful move here for the dollar over the past couple of days or 3 days since Monday. Very strong move, brief pause over there, another strong move to the downside. If you can see a retest of that area, I think that's a very smart place for a short, and we can see price continue to fall off the back of that. No problem, Emmanuel. Happy to help. So yeah, very bearish right now for dollar CAD. I'm interested to see how the yen pairs do develop, because the yen itself has just been a bit wishy-washy kind of all year, to be honest. Some moments of clarity, but it's been up and down. But the way I see it, was still very consistent with all these lower highs. So that does still very much keep me bearish for the yen. And if the yen is still going to stay bearish, because of course this is the yen basket, by the way, it's the yen against numerous different currencies, the Aussie, the CAD, euro, pound, dollar. So if the yen basket is falling, it means the yen is weaker compared to all of those other currencies. And of course, vice versa if it's moving up. So if the yen is going to continue to fall, we're going to sustain these lower highs, then that does mean we're probably going to see rallies for pound, rallies for pound yen, rallies for euro yen, rallies for dollar yen, rallies for CAD yen as well. If this does fall, if of course it doesn't fall and it does reverse, then of course we're going to expect the opposite. But if this is going to reverse, I do need to see price break structure, which would mean a break of this high. At the moment, that's not the case, so I would remain bearish. Yeah, if price suddenly does do that, then of course I will look to pivot. But for now, lower highs are still being respected. I think the yen can still continue to fall. CAD CHF, okay, we'll take a look, no problem. Yep, I would agree, Anton, USD is weaker. Which is why we're getting USD CAD falling. Okay, so CAD CHF. So yeah, CAD CHF at some major support. So I can see why this is piquing some interest of some people, because we are at some major lows. In fact, we are at all-time lows. If I zoom out on the weekly chart, this is as far as it goes back, 1982. So over 50 years of price action. Price has never been lower. So these are some real big lows for CAD CHF, and I do expect at some point a big recovery of that. You know, at all-time lows, sellers will start to kind of take profit, and you will see a pullback at some point. But I don't want to be the first person into the market. That's one thing for certain. Especially a market like this, which has been falling since literally the beginning of time, or beginning of when the chart started, 1982. We've literally been falling, and the chances are price is probably going to sweep the lows here. So yes, I do expect to see a big recovery for CAD CHF, but I want to wait to see bullish structure come into play first. And then yes, I can find some pullback somewhere, a retest of a high somewhere. It really depends on how we set up, but something like that, at least I can be confident, because there's some bullish structure at play, and I'll be expecting the continuation of that. And of course, a bigger kind of counter trend move for CAD Swiss. We are still very oversold at all-time lows. I do think we can get a big recovery, but I don't want to be trying to buy at the lows here, because I think there's a high chance we do sweep the lows first. So I would be at risk to that, and because we could still see a pretty big sell-off. You know, price doesn't have to turn now. It might wait 200, 300 pips lower first before it does reverse. So waiting for some bullish structures to enter the market allows you to kind of miss out and not step in front of that moving train, and wait for price to actually start to develop in your favor. Then we find some high lows to trade off the back of that. So CAD CHF, I am kind of favoring buys for this one as a swing idea. I'm not really looking to sell it, already at all-time lows, so there is no sell opportunity there. Actually, there is a nice sell opportunity if we can retest. Let me just clear the chart. If you can retest this area, I think that could provide some nice shorts. Something like that. I don't mind that idea, because you're still in favor of momentum. You're still kind of falling with price. We haven't swept the lows yet. So if you do pull back, you can expect price to go and sweep the lows afterwards. So I don't mind the shorts there. But in terms of the bigger move, the bigger swing, yes, I do think it's with the buyers, but I need to wait for some bullish structure to enter the market first before I do look to follow that higher. So for the buys, I don't see much yet. Sells, keep an eye on 0.592. If you were to pull back there, I think that's a smart place for a short, but I would avoid buying off the lows here. It's just very, very aggressive trade. It's a nice level of support, yes, but it's aggressive trade. Momentum is very, very much against you. Simbonello, power's a bit hawkish. We are in a wait and see because economic data is still a bit slightly mixed, bit bearish though, and I agree with him. Yeah, I mean that's how the dollars reacted. Dollars reacted very, very bearish, and I mean it's kind of similar to how I'm looking to trade the dollar as well. Because yes, everything is still pretty bearish at the moment in time, but I'm not necessarily looking to follow that. I think intraday, yes, there will be some selling opportunities on the dollar. Momentum right now is bearish. Trend still looks momentum looks relatively healthy there. So I think short-term plays with the dollar make the most sense. As for a swing trade, I'm not really interested in shorting the dollar right now until I see a little bit more strength with the bears. Then maybe I might look to sell. I'm actually still waiting to see if dollar can reverse. No real signs of that happening just yet, but the bears are very much in control, so I have to kind of back away for now. No problem, happy to help. If you don't mind me asking how to differentiate between a breakout and a fake out, good question. Well, a breakout, well, when you have a breakout, you never know if it is a fake out. There's nothing, at least that I've found, that would tell me that, okay, this breakout is going to be a fake out. I only know it's a fake out until I see price close back within the zone. For example, if we were to see price break below this support level, I would only know it's a fake out if price was to break back inside. Yeah, that's the only way I know it's a fake out. So when I do see a breakout, I'm looking for key qualities that give me a bit more confidence that it won't be a fake out, which is a very strong move, a lot of momentum, we'll clear the level by some distance. So I don't want to see price kind of just close slightly below the level like that. I want to see some distance between, the breakout and the level. If there's can be momentum there, if it's with 2 or 3 candles as well. So those are the key things I'm looking for on a breakout. So multiple candles on the breakout, a lot of momentum, some big candles as well, and we clear the level by some distance. If you can get all of those confluences, the chances of it being a fake out are a lot slimmer. It can still very much happen, but it's less. And of course, in terms of a trading opportunity, I always wait for the retest. So I'm always looking to see how price pulls back as well. If it's nice and slow and corrective, well, again, the odds of this being a fake out is quite slim. If it's nice and corrective, the chances are price is just going to come back for a retest and continue. If the pullback is very aggressive, like what we had in dollar yen, very aggressive push back down again, well, that's a bit of a red flag. Because if we've had a strong breakout with a lot of momentum, I shouldn't see equal strength on the way back up. This is where the momentum is to the downside. I shouldn't see strength coming back up again. I need to see kind of a slower corrective move. So if I do see strength on the pullback, I kind of be a bit more cautious because that could mean it's a fake out. We're about to break back within the range and we might see price push on. If I go quickly to dollar yen, there's a good example of that which happened this week. Nice break to the upside there, healthy momentum, cleared it with some distance, but the pullback was all wrong. We had a very, very aggressive pullback, which made me kind of back away a little bit. And of course, in hindsight, we can see price did break back within the range, retested it, and it did continue south. So and you see a corrective pullback too. But yeah, breakouts it's always a touchy spot. You can never really predict a fake out until it does happen. But if you can wait for a healthy breakout in terms of momentum, in terms of multiple candles, in terms of distance between the breakout and the level, then wait for a corrective pullback, then you've got yourself a good probability that it's not a fake out and likely price is going to retest to continue. Yeah, those are the key things to keep an eye on. Yeah, NFP will be interesting as well. Is NFP next Friday? Yeah, I think it is. I think, yeah, because we end the month next Monday, so yeah, Friday. Yeah, you can use that as well. Fundamentals to back up a breakout as well. That can definitely provide some strength as well. Definitely, if like for example, you have a fundamental bias, let's say for dollar yen, expecting price to go lower, but then price breaks higher, you can use that to potentially anticipate a fake out. Because if you're expecting dollar yen to go lower for whatever reason, and it's going higher, or maybe that breakout is a false one for price to end up going lower in your expected direction. So that could be something you could use. But yeah, economic data can be a help. I mean, there's other confluences you can use as well. You can use moving averages. You can use kind of stochastics as well to engage when the market's oversold. There's other things you can use, but those are the key things I use from a technical standpoint: gauging momentum, gauging distance, and how we pull back really. But yeah, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I do hope each and every one of you has enjoyed it, found it useful. If that's the case, drop a like. It does really help out. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Check out the Zentrix Telegram channel, completely free to join. It's a project I've been working on for the past few months involving AI, utilizing AI to develop automated trading bots, strategy development, creating different indicators, whether fundamental or technical, even sentiment as well. If you want to experiment to see how you can utilize AI to improve your trading or just make things a little bit quicker, definitely something to keep an eye on. There's a Telegram there, free to join. There's more information there and updates regarding the launch as well. So check out the Telegram if you are interested. But guys, really appreciate you tuning into another stream. I will be live again later today with Trader Nick, I believe, on his channel, which is going to be live in about an hour and 45 minutes. So head over to his channel about then, and you should see me. If not, I will be live again tomorrow on this channel, as always, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you want to see more analysis, chat with myself, tune in, and yeah, we can have a good time and discuss some market ideas. But yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in. Drop a like and subscribe before you leave. Does really help out. Thank you to everyone who has. Check out the Discord linked in the description below. Join the community, chat with other traders, including myself, share ideas, and of course see what other people are trading as well. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.